Hey guys, I'm back again today with some more wire character analysis, I should say. I'm kind of starting off going through the Barksdale organization. So far I've done Avon, I've done Stringer, I've done Weebay. Today we're going to talk about D'Angelo Barksdale. So in season one, you could argue he might have been the main character of The Wire. He's the nephew of Avon Barksdale, who, of course, is the head of the Barksdale organization, the main villainous stable in drug kingpin, I should say, in season one. Actually, season one, two, and three, particularly one and three. But yeah, D'Angelo, we kind of start the entire series off with D'Angelo's trial after he murdered fellow drug dealer. He gets off. Avon pulls some strings as well as Stringer. They pull some, no pun intended. They pull some strings to get D'Angelo off. And we see very early on that D'Angelo, he's somewhat of a, I guess you call him like a nepo baby of the drug organization, right? He's his mom, Brianna. Is like we say the treasurer of the organization. She kind of stays away from it, but she, is very much a part of it, behind the scenes. Avon is obviously, his uncle, his mom's younger brother, and he's the head of the organization. So he's already kind of tied in, right? And this, you see some jealousy. I see it from a guy like Stringer. You see it from, someone like Bodie as well, who's a soldier, and kind of views, he didn't have the ins that D'Angelo had to get into the game. But when we see it from D'Angelo's point of view, especially as the first season continues to go on, and he, gets more entrenched in the horrors of this world, you almost feel bad for him. I mean, you do feel bad for him because he's almost forced into this, right? Whereas some people on the outside, sees that he's gotten, he's immediately given a tower, and even when he fucks up, he's still running the pits, and he's never gonna get, he's always gonna have a spot in the organization, just because of his last name. While others look at, him, kind of like that, when you really dive into D'Angelo, he says it best, when he's talking to the police, he just wants to breathe like normal folk. He's bred into this shit, right? He's bred into this, and he's got no other choice, and you really start to feel bad for D'Angelo. And I think throughout the series, you see that, or season one, you see his apprehension towards some of the tactics, and so just some of the ways of the world he's in, right? Whereas a guy like Weebay, just understands, this is, you could say Weebay's not malicious, like some other guys in the organization, and he's probably closer to D'Angelo in terms of both of them, Weebay, they both have some good sides to them. They both have, you say, somewhat sensitive sides to them, right? But with Weebay, he views it as business. He views the atrocities committed by the Barksdale organizations and the atrocities committed by himself as just business. Whereas D'Angelo, he sees kind of the true moral, the bad moral things. I'm trying to find a nice little adjective there, but the bad morality of the group, right? So D'Angelo comes this close to eventually, he gets caught on a drug bust, and he comes this close to making a deal to giving up everybody. And McNulty, I fucking love McNulty. I'm gonna give him a line. I'm gonna give a line that he says, and obviously I'm gonna do an analysis on him later, but he tells Brianna, after a while later, we had more sun on your brother's crew than AT&T. D'Angelo was this close to giving you guys up until you came in and talked to him, and that's what happened. Brianna, the only person that could talk D'Angelo out of giving up the crew at that point, does so, and basically tells him, take the time, take the 20 years, we'll take care of you, take care of your family. And she asks him, she says, what else are you going to do besides this? And it's a really fucked up thing, right? For a mother to tell a son. Um, but, it's just, you see, so D'Angelo, I'm just going to speed this up a little bit. He ends up going to prison. And Stringer actually orders a hit on D'Angelo because Stringer's not sure that D'Angelo can do the time and not give people, give everybody up, right? They think he might take a deal at some point. Unbeknownst to Avon, obviously, unbeknownst to Brianna, unbeknownst to really anybody in the Barksdale organization, because they made it look like a suicide. But Brianna, once McNulty goes to D'Angelo's girlfriend, his baby mama, and says, "Hey, it wasn't a suicide." Brianna approaches McNulty, and McNulty, rightfully so. You see the grief that Brianna has for D'Angelo, but rightfully so, McNulty rips into Brianna and just says but basically, paraphrasing, McNulty, in this interaction, just, you didn't really love your son. If you really loved your son, then you wouldn't have had him take the time. And when Brianna, and this is one of, this is a very just, I don't know, it's a big moment for me in the show where Brianna asks McNulty, why didn't you come to me first? And McNulty just tells her, I was trying to find someone that actually gave a damn about the kid. And it's just one of those things where while Brianna did love D'Angelo, I think initially she was too focused on the game. She was too focused on the overall crew. And she thought D'Angelo, needed to just stay in line and do, what he needed to do. And that taking care of his family, taking care of him would be enough. When in reality, D'Angelo gives up far more than just 20 years, And who's to say, even if he didn't get hit by Stringer, who's to say he would have lasted the full 20 years? But, eventually Avon finds out. Stringer tells Avon that he killed D'Angelo, and that's a big, that caused a big rift between Avon and Stringer that I think just, never fully recovered. Obviously, they both ended up turning on each other. And I'm going to talk a bit more about that Avon and Stringer, that final scene, that is just business scene, because that's probably the best scene in the show for me, at least. But that's all I got on D'Angelo. Very tragic character. He's a good guy beneath all of his activities, beneath the life that he was born into. But yeah, that's D'Angelo Barksdale, and I hope you guys enjoyed the video.